You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, this year the big game is not just for football fans. It's time to go all in on food. Tums and DraftKings have teamed up to create a free-to-play pool so you can get in on the action and keep on snacking. There's a share of $10,000 up for grabs. To take home the cheddar, just make the right picks about America's game day grub. Play free in the Tums Prop Bites pool on DraftKings to score big without the burn. Learn more at TumsPropBites.com. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Were you guys moved? We didn't talk about this the other day right after the Grammys because the Killer Mike thing was something that was more pop culture type candy. And I missed what was, I thought, a genuinely moving moment during a time I think we can all agree awards ceremony shows silly, that they're not as relevant as they used to be. They're not America gathering around the television to celebrate all silliness.
Really? I would think that award shows are like one of the last bastions of community viewing along with live sports.
And perhaps there they are somewhere. They haven't died
they're smaller
quite like everything else, but they're still vital for moments like these when
Will Smith slaps Chris Rock.
Yes. And Tracy Chapman performs for the first time in many years and introduces a new generation to an artist who hasn't performed very much, singing an impossibly sad song so well and produced well by television because the reveal is on her hands and her face very slow with the light. And you realize by the chords she's announced herself and people recognize a tune that they associate with a time, with a woman, with an icon, and then the music hits and you are seeing in the performance, recreated for a new generation by a modern artist, the genuine awe that he has performing next to Tracy Chapman because he knows the credentials of what's next to him, the pain of that song, who made it great, why it's great, and he knows he's a borrower and he can't believe that he gets to perform this with her because it's an honor, because she makes music that makes you cry and made a whole bunch of people cry Monday and they didn't even know why they were crying.
Luke Combs covered the song Fast Car earlier this year, which is why it was performed at the Grammys with Tracy Chapman. And he has spoken about how much honor he felt in being able to cover the song to begin with, because it then became a #1 hit on country radio. Now, without so many people from previous, or rather so many young people who don't know it from previous generations. And so to be able to have this moment with her, you can see the look on his face in the background as she's singing. There's a couple of still shots that are circling on social media where the awe that he has for this human being, and the audience didn't react like that to anybody for the rest of the night.
You and I can be pretty cynical. I was genuinely surprised that I got moved by a moment, as cynical as I am, during an award show. And it was just because it's just looking at it and then hearing the music hit me in the chest, realizing who she is and remembering like the pain in that song.
That's nostalgia, though, right? That's the nostalgia of you remembering 1993, hearing that song for the first or whenever it came out.
Well, feeling it more than hearing it.
But it's also analog, right? Like there's an analog aspect to that performance. The guitar, Tracy Chapman herself. The premise of the song is about an earlier time. And so there was the juxtaposition of this is a viral moment that is about an antiviral concept. And that, I think, hit people somewhere inside of them that had been sort of like spackled over by just like the online world we live in. It felt nice to be reminded of how things used to feel.
Just how music can move you, can move people no matter what their difference is.
Also, just people discovering that there was a source material to this. That's something that that's of a bygone era, almost pre-internet. You hear a P. Diddy and the Family song, you're like, wow, this is such a great beat. And then as you get older, because the internet wasn't exactly around when you first experienced it, you realize it samples. And you go back into time and you realize, wow, the Beastie Boys, all they did was sample these songs and make a better song out of an original source material. Stuff that I had no idea about. Going back and listening to some Daft Punk samples, some Kanye samples. that's kind of what people are experiencing with Tracy Chapman, and that she's also been away from the public eye for so long.
That's the other analog aspect of it, right? Is that someone like that who has stardom at that age, so young, is then fed into this attention economy. And we know her. We've been seeing too much of her. And the withholding of her until this moment that was not promoted with any advance warning is part of that analog surprise.
And she hasn't been on tour since 2009. She's not doing things like these publicly. And so, but it was also the presentation of some of these things. I remember one of the most moving bits of television I've ever seen is Stairway to Heaven, performed by Hart and a church choir that just blows the nipples off of Led Zeppelin, when they're watching it. But so the music of it is obviously beautiful, but the televised production was also beautiful. And Tracy Chapman, the way that was unveiled as a surprise, where it's first her hands and then it's the chords that are introducing her. It's the way her hands are lit. And then you don't see her face immediately either. And then when you do, she's smiling, like she's smiling. And it's a huge moment for her that should be pressurized. No, I'm going to sing this sad song in front of everybody and I'm going to move them. I know I'm going to.
Slight callbacks to how she was initially introduced, because she was born out of this music video era. And if you remember Fast Car's music video, they did as much as they could to disguise her appearance. So a little bit of a callback there, but then you go back and you see, oh, she's beaming, she's happy now. And you contrast that with how the record label decided to introduce her.
She's beaming because, oh my God,
she got that money.
ASCAP just went through the roof. Oh my God, all these white people are rediscovering this song, and this time they've got an actual white person singing it, and they're just loving it, and I'm getting paid, I'm getting rich, and good for her.
We should say Tracy Chapman is a black woman.
Yes.
And so part of the other thing that made people feel nice in ways that are both superficial and also very deep is that she represented this thing that communally people who ostensibly disagree on things or are not the same, like, gathered around. And it was like, oh, the country people love this. But also, like, there's a post-racial aspect, weirdly, even though this happened 30 years ago that we're just reviving now.
The post-racial aspect is Luke Combs, is his name? Luke Combs?
Luke Combs, yeah.
Luke Combs actually saying, hey, I got this song from this black person over here, as opposed to the Elvis.
Yes.
Of like, hey, thank you very much, and give me all that money.
I like
the original crime.
I like when masses discover something. There was, people might have missed it when they were doing the In Memoriam tribute. Rodriguez got thrown up on the screen, and some people may not be familiar with the story. If you're not, check out the documentary Searching for Sugar Man, because there was this music artist that was immense, unbeknownst to him, abroad in Africa. Just huge, biggest recording artist in that country. And because much of it happened pre-internet, he went his entire life being forgotten until he goes back to Africa and has this hero's welcome. I was actually informed of something that is going on in St. Lucia, where it's one of the last bastions of outlaw country. That outlaw country is huge.
What is outlaw country?
Like the old Willie Nelson type of renegade country, not pop country. Real sad, depressing, lonesome music is immense.
You're always on my mind. That's outlaw country. Outlaw country makes it sound like it's, hey, the hell with you. We're taking the country back. Yeah, we'll try
Yosemite Sam.
Try that in a small town. That sounds like outlaw country, not you're always on my mind.
Well, Terry Bradshaw has a country album, right? Or and I think one of the songs in the country album is "The Last Word in Lonesome Is Me."
That's a bar. Terry Bradshaw?
That's a perfect country song. That's awesome.
Yes, I think that's a song. Well, Terry Bradshaw has gone on a tour talking about depression. Is that what you think outlaw country is just sad? It's not renegade, it's just...
No, I'm the opposite. I'm saying, how is outlaw country not renegade music? Outlaw country. I'm outlaw country, and I'm sad in my feelings all the time. Doesn't really...
But that's right there. So that it's... I mean, Terry Bradshaw was and is sad and in his feelings all the time, and is considered one of the most honest, iconic... Man, we talk about these quarterbacks playing games between Romo and Aikman and Brady to compete. Bradshaw beat them all. Bradshaw's been on television at the center of that shit for 30 years.
He ain't making no $350 million, though.
He also did not write the song. for what it's worth. It was
Get
written by
outta here.
Roger Miller in 1965.
Get out of here, you fraud, trying to take credit
Get out of here,
for it.
nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
This is a fast car moment.
Get your
Just bringing it
loneliness
for the
out of
new
here.
people.
All right. When you say get out of here, nerd, can you explain to me? I really regret not getting to this story earlier this week because Diana Rossini from The Athletic.
The description of Outlaw Country is fiercely independent. The Outlaws abandoned lush orchestration, stripped the music to its country core, and added a rock sensibility to the sound.
Video, go ahead and put up on the screen, please, Terry Bradshaw's, let me see the
track list?
the album. Yes, the album cover. Go ahead and put it on the screen because that didn't feel like Outlaw. It felt like a lot of sad songs.
I'm so lonesome I could cry. Absence. Slowly. Making plans. Okay, so he's making
So far, I'm very worried about what Terry's about to do.
a world I can't live in. 4 walls. The last word in Lonesome is Me, which is it's a bar, but it's not his. Less and less. Here comes my baby back again. Okay. Burning bridges. That didn't turn out.
And then on a downslope there.
Yeah, like
That was a
it's a
three-act
little
play.
There's a little optimism on both sides, right? Side A is like making plans, and side B is like, here comes my baby back again. And then afterwards, a world I can't live in.
Can I celebrate for a moment the career Terry Bradshaw has had? Seriously.
I didn't know about that album at all.
I didn't know about that.
But how about the tour? How about he tours doing music? He tours doing music and singing about depression. And he did a documentary about it. And he's one of the lead voices on television around quarterback voices in the last 30 years.
Did he make $350 million?
I don't know how much he made, but
Adjusted for inflation?
Did not.
so you think he's
Brady.
deeply underpaid at Fox? Probably, right? They've been the number one pregame show and halftime show for 30 straight years, so probably.
There's actually another song in Terry's album, Take These Chains From My Heart. It was hidden by our lower third on the video.
Oh, take these chains from my heart.
His cover of I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry reached the top 20 on the Billboard's country chart in 1976. So he also only took the song 10 years later, which isn't so bad. That's actually less distance than Luke Combs to Tracy Chapman.
The Bicentennial.
You guys don't want to marvel at Terry Bradshaw's career with me? That's
I saw his ass in Failure to Launch. That was nice.
that's true.
That's when he gave him an option of socks and he said, give me the medium.
That's right. That story's too long to tell here. But you guys don't want to celebrate Terry Bradshaw with me during Super Bowl week.
I mean, I guess.
He was Brady before Brady. He won 5 Super Bowls.
No, it wasn't Brady.
He won 5. What do you mean he wasn't Brady before
Have
Brady?
you seen his stats? He like does 3 times a
But he
game.
won 5. He won 5 Super Bowls. Now, those teams never had any free agents. They all just came back the next year and kicked your ass again. That was a harder time. Nobody could change teams.
Apparently it was because I'm so lonesome I could cry.
That was the great leader, winner of our time.
Staying up late, hanging out with friends, yelling at the game on the TV, you do a lot over a big weekend. So when it's time to start another big week, celebrate Hydration Monday with Liquid IV. If you took the weekend to watch some sports, we got some big games coming up. The big game is coming up out at a bar, at a club, a movie theater, doing anything but hydrating. What are you really doing? Liquid IV has a ton of different flavors. Sugar-free white peach, green grape, lemon, lime, my favorite. You guys know I go to the gym. I play hoops. I'm an active guy. Whenever I feel just a little bit off, I know it's my hydration, I reach for Liquid IV, sugar-free. Take that with water, blend it down, and I am back on the grind. Weekends are for going wild. Have a game plan for Monday with Liquid IV. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco or get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use code DAN at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Superior Hydration today using promo code DAN at liquidiv.com.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DiGiorno. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Dan Le Batard.
Kensley Jansen. I got to be careful here. What did I just do there? Let me start again.
Stugotz.
He's their closer. Comes in, 9th inning, closes the game out. His name is Kenley Jansen. He has blamed his recent...
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code DAN, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Real quick, without getting into a meandering conversation about why it is we're going to Las Vegas, and many of us are already there, and all of us will be by the end of the week. What I wish to explain to the audience in the event it escaped your attention is that this is the last week of Mike's career as our executive producer, and we are going out with a bang.
Is that the dread that he's been feeling?
I don't know. He has been feeling a dread all week, and I imagine there's been some dread around company building at every turn. And here, as a last act, is his punctuation as executive producer. Let's throw 2 live events in the entertainment capital of the United States during the Super Bowl. Let's see if we can draw a crowd. There are going to be a lot of people there. Can we make a big noise? It will either be a spectacular success or a spectacular failure. He's worried about the age of his hosts because, Pablo, I just saw him in the studio a second ago. He fell to his knees. This is his last week on the job. He shouldn't care anymore. He fell to his knees screaming at a television set because the microphone is too close to Stugotz's face on Radio Row, and he's talking into the microphone in the way that f***s up the audio, and there's no one there to help him except Billy, who's sitting right next to him with another microphone that's too close to his face as well. And so Mike Ryan, his last week on the job, is not being able to control the sound from Vegas, where his aging radio hosts, Billy Gill included, don't know where to put a microphone, where the kids are putting the microphones these days.
Where are they putting them?
So Mike's going a bit crazy.
We're broadcasting from Stadium Swim at Circa, and there were a lot of concerns. There's wind. It's cold out there. It's going to be breezy. There's noise pollution. So even though my hosts are very comfortable with desktop mics, we decided we're going to go with headphones. I just outlined, look, I understand your concerns about the wind, but my host is at an age now where occasionally a guttural noise will come out of his body. It is unavoidable, and the only way to mitigate that is by the host pulling himself away from the microphone at the table. And Stugotz is just generally disgusting. So I'd like the ability to pull ourselves away from the microphone. You can't do that if
this is not the punctuation you wanted. The punctuation you wanted was, "I've made a musical. Good night, everybody. I'm going to leave here."
That was the original plan, and then Whitty f***ed it all up. I don't resent the kid. He chased his dreams. He's killing it. That's amazing for him. Screwed me.
You had the perfect, he did, he really did. Well, he had the perfect protege, groomed from 14 years old to be a weird robot that would serve the company's needs. And then he ran off to chase his own dreams. Crazy. Asshole.
Yeah, I am happy for him, but it took a minute to get there.
Well, you're still not happy for him because this week is filled with dread for you. And I ask you guys.
Again, I don't think it's all professional, the dread.
It might be the flight. We've established
the flight. I mean, I should change after my flight got hit by lightning that one time.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Dude, I wish I had been on that flight. When everyone's
you would have been like, it's okay.
I would have stood up, guys, it's all right. We don't go out like this.
Because,
it's just turbulence has gotten a lot worse as the planet's heating up. There's a correlation between turbulence, clean air turbulence, and global warming.
Dog, I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Look it up.
I mean, that's not bullshit. I said it one time.
Every week?
But I said this in front of Mike recently, and he looked at me like I'm a horror monger. But no, the one of the effects of climate change in the future will be that planes will have more difficulty flying.
And I've had so much turbulence since finding out that revelation. I mean, it doesn't matter how the distance. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm just doomed to get bad turbulence. I was flying back from Europe one time, and I was on a plane where everybody's head hit the ceilings. It was just really scary, even though my daughter got a crazy kick out of it. And I'm a little scared of flying now because of it.
I fully believe in climate change. Let me make that clear. But I would say that we could add up everybody's flight time over the last 12 months here, the 6 people here versus me, and I might be double what you guys have logged. There ain't no way in hell turbulence is a lot worse now or whatever. That's just not.
I mean, there's all sorts of articles that support this. This is not just like some.
He's got the credentials. He's telling you.
Turbulence was never as much of an issue.
But you're talking about nerds of the computer. He's talking about what he's done.
Hand in the dirt.
Hand in the dirt.
Plane in the sky.
Yeah.
Lightning hitting planes. I'm telling you, it's been bad.
He slept through that. There's like 5 lightning strikes on a plane. He slept through.
Probably. I probably missed it. Maybe it did happen. I wish I was awake.
Flight patterns being changed is where your line is on believing that climate change is going to start
quick
affecting.
Google
is going to make new normals.
Yeah, you learn your stuff from Google. I learn my stuff from experience. I'm out there, me and the pilots and the flight attendants.
In those skies.
In the sky.
On the streets.
Patrolling. Letting everybody know, hey, you know what? Climate change, bad, really happening. Also, turbulence, not so bad.
Turbulence, the show, my
doing
career,
the reporting,
the general election, all of this stuff. It's just all coming to a head, and it's left me feeling dread.
This is Amin El-Hassan coming to you from the wing.
This is not the way to go into a party fueled by alcohol and music in Vegas. It's just
I'm not going to be on that much alcohol.
Tony,
I am.
Tony, he's okay.
It would have been the perfect time for
it. Would have been a good time for that guitar right there. I am, and then Roy appears with thank you. That doesn't help anybody. You fueling liquor on Mike's dread and him looking at me and being like, you gonna rescue us, old guy who doesn't know how to hold the microphone correctly in the wind because it's gonna be 18-mile-an-hour winds and I'm just gonna get blown off the stage?
On behalf of Mike, by the way.
Because it's gonna be too cold. It's gonna be too cold.
How cold is it right now in Vegas?
If you look at the low, the day that we're out there, it's a low of 37, but a high in the 50s, and so I think around that time.
No, but you guys won't be out there when it's 30 something. That's in the middle of the night.
But we will be on a rooftop, so the wind is a factor.
It will be chilly, it will be windy, but it's not going to be 30.
But it's also I've been to Stadium Swin during the winter. I saw Skylar Thompson start a postseason game. It was very cold. Heat lamps everywhere. They're prepared.
Yeah, man. Circa.
I love pants on the beach. I love wearing a light jacket. 50 degrees. I live in New York. That's spring.
Oh, but forgive me on being an amateur here. I thought 50 degrees, it matters if it's 5-mile-an-hour winds or 20-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah. That all of a sudden you get
those winds are whipping off the Sierra Nevada.
Like in the desert on a roof.
Yeah, which is also why I'm worried about the turbulence because flying into Vegas is always a turbulent experience because of the.
I mean, surely you would agree with that, right? Because I've experienced that many times flying just California to Vegas. That is more turbulent because how mountainous the regions are.
But isn't turbulence also just like the topography of the road, so to speak, that the plane is driving on? Like turbulence isn't actually.
But
the
now
thing
there's
that
clean air
fells
turbulence
planes.
because of global warming, where there's just no way to know.
I'll tell you how to know. Get on a plane with me twice a week, every week for the last year. Then you'll know.
Yeah,
you'll know.
I understand your bravado, but you haven't been there where the turbulence hits that house.
So the turbulence is just
my thing on a plane is when it gets super turbulent. I'm like, is this unusual turbulence? All I do is try to lock eyes with the flight attendant and see how they're reacting.
Boom.
If they're afraid, I'm afraid. If they're just like zoned out, I'm not worried.
Well, I'm a veteran of the turbulence game, and yes, I look at the flight attendants, and much to my chagrin, they're also nervous about it.
Thank you.
Pain thresholds for air turbulence. I would imagine that the flight attendants are more. Oh, yeah. They've got a higher threshold than anybody. If they're scared, you need to be scared.
You know how I reassure myself is I'm constantly Googling, even though I know the answer. No plane has crashed because of turbulence, which I don't believe for a second.
I was literally just about to bring that up. No plane has ever crashed because of turbulence. Ever.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
So here you go. It goes pilots, when you talk about that being able to not worry or whatever, right? Number 1 is pilots. Number 2, the flight attendants. Number 3, Amin El-Hassan.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
That's who you look.
Amin's trying to project confidence for all
but
of
I believe him. I believe that your confidence is real and bulletproof.
You're Dan Le Batard. You're sitting in your seat. There's a lot of turbulence. Oh my God, this doesn't feel real. You look. Oh, I can't see the pilots. The door's closed. What about the flight attendant? Oh, she's around the corner. I can't really see. Where's Amin? He's right there. He's cool.
If something tragic were to happen to us on our flight to Las Vegas,
come on, man,
this audio is going to be dissected for years to come.
Of course, you know what they're going to say? Amin offered to be on the flight to make you guys feel better, and Mike dismissed him with all the bravado of someone who learned everything from Google University, the College of YouTube, as opposed to listening to me, who I came from the School of Hard Knocks.
This does make Amin also the worst person to consult when there's turbulence, because Amin firmly believes he cannot die on an airplane. And so as the plane is descending, about to crash into the earth, Amin is saying to himself, I dreamed something different.
No, I'm sorry to introduce this to your guys. It's the last thing that you want to hear before you board a flight. That one guy scared to death. That
is a nightmare.
The one.
I don't care. Well, this portending feeling of doom that you speak of, what Amin is saying here, and forgive me because you say you come from the school of hard knocks or hard flights. Are you talking about? Is there a difference between other flights in your life before American flights? Because I know when I have flown on small planes in Africa, and I've been very scared.
I've been in little planes, puddle jumpers. I've been in the wide body. I've been in every type of plane other than the Concorde. That was my dream. Never got to do it. But you know what? I hear they're bringing it back. And when they do, guess who's flying? Amin El-Hassan.
But you're saying you're the bravest traveler. You should have given him the guitar there. He was looking for the guitar. Roy, he was looking at you for the guitar.
No,
you've got to bring the guitar sound.
Not looking at Roy. I was looking at someone in the back. I was looking at Lewis. Lewis was like, oh, look at the camera. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I looked at the camera.
Yes.
I'm not the one playing it.
No, but your timing was terrible on that.
My timing? Or Lewis's timing as I stared at a camera and there was just silence.
Okay, but you and Lewis are doing a joke that you're only telling that you and Lewis were doing a joke there with the music, and nobody told us Lewis was playing, and so it just got played whenever Lewis wanted because Mike's in control of the music, not Lewis.
No, I've seeded that.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is all Lewis.
See, I'm telling you.
This is what it's going to be like, Dan.
Really loosening the reins is that last week is EP.
Yeah.
Mike's doing a garage sale, like my man Bud, what's his name, Coach Bud Grant. And just like, hey, who wants this?
I can't tell you how heartbreaking it is to me that Mike has a feeling of dread before all of this, which is meant to be a company party.
a company party that David Sampson is not invited to.
The best kind of company party.
I mean, if you want to call the biggest broadcast of our professional lives, given our current standing in the industry, a party, go right ahead.
Starting is everything when it comes to fitness. Peloton helps you start no matter what level you're at. Wherever you're starting, there's thousands of classes to get you moving. Whether that's beginners or advanced rides, feel-good live DJ rides, or artist-themed rides, they've got something for you. Peloton bike instructors keep you motivated from day one. They'll show you the basics, help take the guesswork out of your workout, and encourage you to build from there. And now with Peloton Entertainment, you can keep moving and watch your favorite TV shows and live sports as you ride. Perfect for those days when you don't want to miss a thing. And if you don't have a bike, take a dance class, take a core class, take Pilates, take a stretching class, start a program with Andy, do a core program with Emma. You can do it all at Peloton. You can get a Peloton row, and you're not even going to get wet because it's inside your own house without water. How'd they do it? I don't know. Wherever you're starting, get moving with a Peloton bike or Bike Plus rental at onepeloton.com/bike rentals. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Sleep Number. Getting a quality night's sleep is a big game changer. It can help boost your reaction time, recovery time, and performance. So get the sleep you deserve with the Sleep Number Smart Bed. It was designed for your individual sleep needs with adjustable firmness and cooling layers. It even adapts to your movements so you can sleep comfortably all night long. Sleep next level with Sleep Number Smart Beds. Only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is brought to you by Bayer Aspirin, the official sponsor of fans' hearts.
Dan Le Batard.
Oh, I think Larry Fitzgerald's on the green right there.
Stugotz.
That's Alfonso Ribeiro.
How do you think that Larry Fitzgerald?
And the son.
Oh, the son.
To be fair. To be fair.
All right, whatever.
Alfonso Ribeiro has a great ass.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I just caught somebody in racism, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. I caught somebody in racism. It's golf related. There's this course that I've been wanting to play at for a while, and we're trying to get a big golf group trip going. And we have someone in charge of it. His name is Santiago Chi. And so he put in an email, and we're just a couple of weeks removed from getting all the avails that we wanted. And the weekend that we were looking for was booked up. Okay. Let's pivot to another weekend. That weekend is booked up. Huh. Interesting. I know this place is in demand. All right, Chi, a man, just ask them. Tell you what, tell us when you're open, and we'll make it work for that weekend. The response was, we're booked up from January 1, 2024 to December 31, 2024. Okay. All right. Cool. Hey, my buddy, Steph, do me a favor. Change your name and call on the phone and put on a very gringo voice and see what comes back.
So a Mike Ryan exclusive investigation.
Yeah.
You're sending a friend of yours as private detective to sniff out racism.
It didn't check out. And also, I've had this long theory for a famous golf major that I never win the raffle to because I put my real name.
Really?
This is a sordid history with this golf major. And I've long since believed that me submitting my name is held against me when they do this raffle. I have no way of proving it other than none of my other Latino friends have ever gone to this. But white names, no issue. So my friend does the voice, calls the same exact rep.
What was the name he used? Hunter?
Jason.
Oh, Jason.
Use Jason.
That's a good one.
Hunter's a good one.
It's my brother's name.
Tons of avails.
Wow.
Tons of avails. Did you know that golf has some racist elements to it?
No.
Not until this exclusive investigation brought to you by Mike and the glee with which you came out. You should come out with that guitar. I just caught someone in racism and then have it have a musical flair so we can have some fun with you catching people in racism.
I'm telling you, how is there not something to that? Santiago Chi, you're like racist against Asians and Hispanics.
I was going to say.
Is he Peruvian?
This is why I make my Uber name Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a type of casual racism that I think people run into in certain aspects of life.
Pablo's worried about Hispanic racism, aren't you? By name?
I mean, all racism concerns me, Dan.
Well, but in this particular case, in
New
York.
Mostly being confused for one of you.
Well, wait a minute. Aren't we? I mean, but we all have... we all have Latin names that were made English by our parents. I was supposed to be Gonzalo or Luis. I think Mike was Miguel. I don't know.
No, I was born Michael Ryan Ruiz because of my dad was born Miguel, and to help. It was a different time.
But Billy is Billy because Guillermo is a disguise.
I'm Mike Ryan professionally, and have only recently reintroduced my last name into the fold because of racism I felt in the industry. Yeah.
These are whimpering little racist
That's a great, Lewis, I
complaints.
don't mean to tell you like when to do your job, but racism in the industry is a great place for a guitar riff. Thanks.
We can't get the timing right between video and the guitar and the music and Amin and societal points.
I'll never forget the look that my program director gave me when he was looking at a pay stub and he saw my real last name.
Yes, I love this. I never announced that it's racism, just implied, and then the guitar riff brings it home.
Yeah, I mean, I told you why I did that because it goes back to my acting roots, and this is further into the 90s where I didn't really speak Spanish. I understand Spanish, but my name as a professional actor / model was my real name, Michael Ryan Ruiz, and I could only get Spanish language work despite not knowing Spanish. I didn't get offered any English-speaking roles. I wasn't offered the opportunity to even audition for these things. So I told myself after I got out of that game, in the next professional setting that I'm in, I'm going to go by Mike Ryan professionally because my last name, I just came from a place where it was held against me. And I'm really proud of the work that shows like this did because we have the Dan Le Batard Show, even though that name is not overly Hispanic. You are overly Hispanic in presentation, and
no, he's not.
I mean, he's vibrant Miami.
But no, I'm not him. The show is. The show, it looks the way it does because it's trying to compensate for the fact that Dan doesn't present a Hispanic.
We're overcompensating. Despite you had your father named Gonzalo on the dais with you.
That's why his dad was on it because they didn't believe what this is supposed to be a diverse show. It's another white guy.
That's right.
It's like bring his dad out.
I'm proud of our show's track record, and I do think our show made it easier.
But hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. exploited my father for the accent? Yes, that's what we did. They under-index with Latinos? Yes. Have to get the cartoonish Spanish accent and make a mockery of our language? For the paycheck? I'd never sell out.
Jeremy just whispered, it's like me.
Well, Jeremy...
Come on, Lewis!
Jeremy, Lewis, timing a little bit off. Jeremy, help me with this, because I believe that for all of the conversations we've had around here, serious and otherwise, this week of Mike Ryan's, last week as executive producer, Whittingham got farted out the side door to his dream job. Jeremy, step into the place and here, edit a million things and write songs and
that's right.
Get good at it very fast. Your voice has been neglected around here, as I believe that we have, everyone here, less Taylor Swift actual knowledge combined than you do by yourself. You are an untapped authority here and have been for weeks. We've been talking about Taylor Swift and Kelsey, and you have more connections to all of this. You love this music, you love this story, you love all of it, and we haven't given you any time to be the nation's foremost sports expert on this one subject in your wheelhouse. We have denied you the opening to do your job well.
Yeah, similar to Bruce Springsteen with older sports writers, Taylor Swift really exists amongst this generation of sports media in a way that is making me not the only authority. You got Gojo, you got plenty of other people, but around this show, I agree with you. I mean, all of you combined in terms of Taylor
Well, what
Swift
have we
knowledge.
missed then? Then get us downloaded as quickly as you can on all the things that you cover better than others because you know the subject matter better than the rest of us.
What I would say that's most important that's happened this week is that now there's a new album coming for Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department. And this is potentially a slight at her ex, Joe Alwyn, who had a group chat with some other fellow actors, I believe called the Tortured Man Club. So people are really rolling with that. And this is coming out on April 19th. But what Taylor Swift did that was genius going into the Grammys is she turned her Midnight's profile picture black and white. Now, why did she do that, Dan? Everyone thought it was because Reputation, Taylor's version, was going to be announced at the Grammys. But then she surprised everyone by announcing not a redo of an old album that would be coming out now as Taylor's version, but a brand new album to take down her ex, announced the same week as she's going to be going to the Super Bowl for her new beau, Travis Kelce. I mean, it is...
So she always wins.
She always wins. Taylor Swift always wins. The marketing behind her and everything that she does, it's really the best business we have going, where every single move takes her entire fan base looking for Easter eggs and clues, and yet still she seems to be outdoing them. It's really it really is an amazing case study, which is why so many different universities now have classes on her.
I am fascinated by it because anytime someone talks about Taylor Swift the way that Jeremy did, and this is, you could project this out throughout her fan base, it's in the minutia. It has such a culty aspect to it. I'm not unfamiliar with Taylor Swift. I've heard every single one of her albums. She's been around since 2006. And yet, there is such a mystique about her, a cult of personality about her that has birthed this entire unique subculture that I'm being informed of something new about someone that has been under a microscope for close to 20 years.
Taylor Swift is who LeBron thinks he is.
That's exactly right.
Like little clues, prodigious, constantly working behind the scenes, up to stuff, businessman, business tycoon.
Cringy millennial.
And yeah, absolutely cringy millennial.
Passive aggressiveness.
Constantly making fun of her exes without explicitly saying it aloud.
Taylor Swift is also, LeBron has graduated to dad status, though, within this pop culture realm, right? Taylor Swift is cooler at this point than LeBron, correct? Like just with young people?
Yeah. Even it pains me to say that, but yes.
Well, and the thing with Taylor Swift and the reason it gets so culty is because at the very beginning of her career was sort of the beginning of Instagram and the Tumblr era, and she was on social media legitimately interacting with her fans one-on-one, getting into Instagram comments before it became everything that social media is now, which is why they gain this insane connection to her where they feel like not only is she writing about the type of experiences that we go through, but also she's interacting with us and making us feel like she's our friend. And that part of it, there hasn't really been another artist in the social media era to be able to actually connect with their fans this way.
Kevin Durant.
I think he just resents you at this point.
Oh, jeez.
It feels personal.
That his time.
Now he cuts you off. Oh, no.
That the random guitar riff can't be timed properly with your jokes to support you, that it only undercuts you.
By the way, I do get how the Taylor Swift stuff is off-putting. I understand it because everyone is being treated like, oh, you boomer, you don't know about this. I'm like, I don't. She's been around forever. How do I not know about Taylor? And then someone proves to me how little I actually know about Taylor Swift. So to be made to feel like that, I can understand how someone is knocking over their French dip because Taylor Swift's on the TV for 23 seconds. It's because you're being made to feel stupid in a way.
You mean you don't know that she unfollowed Joe Alwyn on April 19th of last year, which is why she's possibly releasing the album on April 19th of this year, Mike?
Brother, I have no idea who Joe Alwyn is.
Joe Alwyn.
What?
Her ex-boyfriend. It's her ex-boyfriend.
I've been trying to figure out what
Joel
the
Alwyn?
name is. Alwyn.
Alwyn.
You're showing your age. You're all showing your age.
Joel Alwyn?
Who's Joe Alwyn?
I don't know who he is either, but it's not because I have any fluency in this language.
Joe Alwyn?
This episode is brought to you by FX's Feud, Capote versus the Swans. Inspired by actual events, the series tells the story of Truman Capote and the women he betrayed. The original housewives. They were society's most elite women. Rich, glamorous socialites who defined a bygone era of high society New York. From creator Ryan Murphy, this drama series features an all-star cast, including Naomi Watts, Demi Moore, and Diane Lane. FX's Feud. All new Wednesdays on FX Stream on Hulu.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by 1-800-Flowers.com. DraftKings official flowers for Valentine's.
Dan Le Batard.
Earlier in the show, the question was asked, what would Stugotz do with one invisible day?
Stugotz.
One day where he could be invisible. We decided that during banking hours, he would choose a weekday. He would rob all the banks in the universe from 8 to 5. And then at night, he would alter sporting event results by being an invisible man in games he had bet on.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Juju has a way of cutting through shit. Juju has said some things to me that have been revelatory because he is perpetually speaking the truth, no matter whether it hurts you or not. And one of the things that he said is that he thought that we sounded unspeakably lame. And I think he was directing it at you and me, Pablo, specifically.
That checks out.
For getting on our high horse. I mean, do you know what this is about?
No, unspeakably lame, though, is a hilarious term.
Well, here, look.
Turns out it wasn't quite so unspeakable for old Juju Gotti.
But Juju Gotti had criticism in general of how out of touch you and I were and are, sounding like scolds, journalistic scolds, by telling Cameron It Is What It Is podcast, for telling them that they shouldn't be platforming O.J. Simpson, for feeling like it's not the right thing to do to normalize.
No,
I don't think anyone actually.
So this is what happened. I said that It Is What It Is my guiltiest pleasure. I click on every video they post. I find myself laughing. That's all true. At the same time, Dan, it just feels obvious to me that if you remember who O.J. Simpson is, there would be a pang of conundrum, a conflict about whether this should be happening so easily and freely and comically. And I say that as someone who has many questions about what O.J.'s life is like now. And I guess for Juju, this is not a thing that he spends a second of time being conflicted about.
I don't think, first of all, I don't think O.J. can be platformed. I don't think anyone's like, you know what? You're good. Or what did he do? He seems like a lovely old man. Everyone knows O.J.'s story. And the whole bit is that this show that is a rebellious show, this is a show that operates outside the purview of mainstream America. It's like, how outlaw are you? Real outlaw. Not like that bullshit outlaw country shit you guys were talking about the other time. So outlaw that we're going to take the most radioactive man still to this day in America, and put them on and ask them about football, which is what they usually do. And then in the last episode, they asked him something that was not football that made me guffaw.
Okay, and made me laugh the same way. I mean, because it's television, it's great. And also, I felt immediately guilt about laughing that way. How often does that one ever get you, or do you just laugh? Because I felt guilt about what I was laughing at.
Yeah, Borat.
For real?
Now.
Or
at least that's what I'm supposed to say.
Let me see.
My wife.
Let me see.
The voice. Let me see from It Is What It Is.
We all did the voice. Shut up.
The thing that made us laugh, even though it shouldn't have made us laugh, but it did.
Said men shouldn't open up to women because they'll use it against them. He said whenever something go down, they're going to throw it back in your face. Do y'all agree? OJ first.
OJ first. When you say open up to women, I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about confessing? No, man, don't confess. No, I think you're right. Don't say nothing. It was your lying eyes.
Yeah.
So leave me out of the confession.
Yeah. Oh, no confession.
Y'all got to leave me out of this.
All these episodes. Yeah, who say that? No confession.
I feel immediate remorse laughing at that. That's real.
Oh, my God. This is what's funny about it, right? What's funny is OJ answered the question sincerely about the question. The setup, it was kind of cut off at the beginning, is that Shaq on his podcast says, don't open up to women because they'll use it against you. Stat Baby does an amazing job of saying, you first, OJ. You could tell the look in her eyes. She's like, I'm going right at OJ for this. OJ answers the question sincerely, like, yeah, and don't say, you never confess anything to a woman like, oh, yeah, I was out with the fellas or whatever. That's how he's answering it. Cam and Mace are dying laughing because he said no confession, and they know exactly what they're laughing at. And you can tell OJ's face like, oh, crap. I just stepped in doo-doo just like Tony.
You don't think he did that on purpose?
I thought he did that on purpose.
No.
I took that. I thought that he did. The
way that he delivered, are you talking about confessing? I thought he caught it then.
No. I mean, I thought that his emphasis on confess was trying to be funny about, like, this is the part that's conflicting.
Well,
you know that man, that man gutted two people with a knife.
Well, he didn't gut.
Yeah.
That's inaccurate.
No, that's not what
he allegedly took a knife to one of their throats, very severely, to the point of near decapitation.
And so you would see my discomfort.
Yeah, I watched that and I'm like, that's their place. Like that's cool, that's fine. I see the value in it. It's certainly shocking, and greatest artists of our time sometimes just do things just to shock you, to disarm you. It's not for us. I'm not jealous of it. It's just not a point that I'm ever willing to cross.
There's comedy in the idea of O.J. Simpson is being invited onto the sports show and ends up being O.J. in ways that the hosts were not prepared for. That, to me, is intrinsically comedic. The comedy is limited by a general sense that I have, this, again, conundrum in the back of my head, that to live in a society of laws and rules and norms means that I shouldn't laugh. When the same guy who's saying the thing that he shouldn't be saying is the guy who we all believe literally killed people.
Let me ask you guys this as we break down and get into it. Are we laughing with him or are we laughing at him? I'm laughing at him.
Oh, man.
So, this is a great distinction, but at the same time, when Dan is pointing out and we're trying to divine the intent, he's also the guy who wrote the book, If I Did It.
Yeah.
And the question applies there, too. Is this something that he's doing to troll people, or is he doing this because...
I go back to this, and I don't know if we have time to replay it, but you can tell the moment he realizes what he said. Because what he did was say, you don't confess anything. What he was doing there was he was doing the old man. The thing that, like, not to make the comparisons, but when your father says, hey, I gamble my money, I gave the money to my mistress. Your dad doesn't really have a mistress, but it's a thing that old men like to do to be funny. Like, oh, look at me.
You don't think that he was purposefully using the verb confess?
Play it again. Play it again. And I'll tell you what. And I'll tell you why.
O.J. Simpson's a fool?
I'll tell you why. Because you can see the moment he realizes how they're taking it, and he says, don't bring me into that, is what he says. But play it again, please.
Said men shouldn't open up to women because they'll use it against them. He said whenever something go down, they're going to throw it back in your face. Do y'all agree? OJ first.
OJ first.
When you say open up to women, I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about confessing?
No, keep playing. Or pause it there. So
Ron Ross, over here of refusing to admit he's wrong.
Back now.
Let's go.
Because first of all,
if the clip does not fit,
you guys gotta let it run, because the part when he goes like that, when he does that confessing thing, he's doing the old man. You mean like telling her like you cheated on her? That's what he's doing. Now let it run. Let it run.
No, man, don't confess.
So he's laughing about what he thinks he made a joke.
I think you're right. Don't say nothing.
Look at it. So look, they start laughing with the lion eyes. He's talking about like talking to a woman.
Leave me out of the confession.
Watch.
Y'all gotta leave me out of this one.
You gotta leave me out of this one, as he shakes his head. That's the moment when he sees their reaction. Like, oh my God, I said that. You gotta leave me out of this one.
Man, I took that lean in to like, you mean the murder I committed? That's kind of how I took it.
No. He's doing the old man, like, like never tell the women that with your lying eyes that I've been cheating on her.
The thing about being the person who is tempted to scold, and I don't want to scold, right? Like none of us enjoy that.
Who you scolding?
Well,
I feel like there's a wide lane to say murder, not my favorite.
Right. And but this is the thing, Mike, is that you need someone to say that. And it's sort of like, do I have to be the guy? That's the exercise that I do.
I want to enjoy this like everybody else.
Am I going to have to be the person who's like, by the way, I watched this documentary about O.J. Simpson and Ezra Edelman showed the murder photos and I haven't forgotten those. And it's just like, at the same time, what's the statute of limitations on something?
Is there someone in America right now who says, O.J. Simpson, that guy's great on It Is What It Is, and it's like, was he famous for anything else?
Yeah, a bunch of people.
Really? You think people are...
The people that are just discovering Tracy Chapman? Like the people that are just discovering O.J. Simpson. Wait, what? He did what?
I kind of feel like
Naked Gun.
O.J.'s up there with like, what's my man that shot Lincoln?
It was more than 20 years ago. A generation wasn't. No, it's not. A generation can be removed from O.J. Simpson.
Top 5 murderers? Should we invite a John Wilkes Booth impersonator as a guest onto the Dan Le Batard show?
That's another bad idea.
Takes?
Hello, Twitter world. It's me, John Wilkes Booth.
The OJ clips are kind of like where I felt like, I might be a nihilist now because I see them. I'm like, that's for other people, not for me. Whatever, I'll move on. I don't feel that passionately about it.
You feel like you've just been. I think Mike has felt numbed by the last 10 years in America, just slapped across the face by raising a child in this America. How about that?
I don't know what it is for me anymore.
Okay, just nihilist defeated.
Yeah, I'm passionate about a couple things. I love my daughter, love my family, love my canes.
You love your wife.
My wife.
It's not allowed anymore.
It
doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up.
Where do you put magnet?
No. When you say Babra Boost, in my country, Babra means to eat.
No. Come on, that was funny.
My roommate in college was from Kazakhstan.
Oh,
this is prime Borat
and you
era.
had to pretend like it wasn't funny.
That guy did not enjoy.
I mean, come on,
my wife.
Obviously not.
So
Obviously
to Kwanish Yerchekovich Baturbekov from Almaty, Kazakhstan.
Of course not.
I want to apologize to you.
It's deeply deeply offensive. Like
It's also nothing like what Kazakhstan is actually like.
That's the funniest
So my
part.
guy
That's
Kunai Kwanish is like basically Chinese Russian presenting.
Yes.
And Borat is
It's deeply offensive, but it was funny.
Why?